Before we start Chapter 8, I would like to dedicate the release of this chapter to a friend of mine that I lost last year. He was my first real friend that I made after high school. He was a co-worker at my very first job, and he was my first roommate. Honestly, if I started writing Chaotic Universe around the time that I met him instead of before, the Duran character would have been based upon him. Paul always stood on his word and his beliefs no matter what. He was a hard worker and one of the most generous people that I have ever met. I did indeed base a character in the Chaotic Universe canon off of him. Aaron, the leader of the Elemental Masters. He will be introduced in the next saga. That entire saga will be dedicated to Paul Weaverling's memory. He was an avid fan of professional wrestling. So after a 10-bell salute, Chapter 8 will conclude the Drasil Universe Saga. Thank you all for your continued support.
Chapter 8. Looking Glass Tales. We resume our story with Team X, who are now sitting around a campfire. They are ahead in their exploration of the forest zone. The three of them are unaware of the spiritual effects of the forest zone. As a result of this, Duran, Brandy, and Anna are overcome with memories of their respective relationships with Chris. "I can't stop thinking about him," Anna said softly. Duran and Brandy agreed. "Before we rest, I think it would be cool if we share how we first met him," declared Duran. "I agree. It may help us sleep," Brandy added. "We should go in order. We might gain some perspective as to why we are all here," Anna said as she got more comfortable. "Guess that means I'm first," Duran started as he looked into the sky. 2 years and 2 months ago. Duran walked into his English 2 class. As he walks in, he spots some of the other students standing in the front of the classroom. A message on the board read, "Reseating for the second semester. Please wait for Mr. Newman to arrive and assign new seats." Great. I might get to sit closer to Amber this semester, Duran thought to himself. Mr. Newman walked into the classroom. He started seating students by placing small nameplates on the desk that he was assigning them to. Once Mr. Newman was finished, all of the students began sitting in their newly assigned seats. "I know that some of you may have become close over this school year, but I would like some of you to be more open towards your other peers that you may not be too familiar with yet," announced Mr. Newman. Just as Mr. Newman finished, Amber walked up to Duran's seating row and sat in front of him. Duran cracked a smile. "Well, at least she's close enough to talk to," thought Duran as he saw Morgan, who was probably one of the most beautiful and popular young women at Paloma. As he looked around, Morgan was sitting behind him, with Sarah on Amber's left and Christy to Morgan's right. Morgan looked around. "There is one more person left," Morgan said as she pointed at the seat to the right of Duran. Almost immediately in walks Chris Wilson, at least 5 minutes late. "Nice of you to join us today, Mr. Wilson. Lucky for you, we were just getting started. Your new seat is right there," informed Mr. Newman as he pointed. Chris sat in his seat right next to Duran. "Again, I know this is something new, but I want you all to experience new things. You may not all be together next school year, but some of you may possibly be in other classes in the future. Always be open to meeting new people. You never know where life may take you," Mr. Newman said as he smiled. "I need to go drop some paperwork off at the office. Use this time to introduce yourself to someone you may not know. I will return," declared Mr. Newman. Mr. Newman walked out of the room. "How are you doing, Amber? How was your winter break?" Duran asked Amber. Amber smiled. "I'm doing great, Duran. Winter break was nice," answered Amber. "Hey Amber, I have someone that I want you to meet," Morgan interrupted. As Duran looked on, Morgan got the attention of Amber, Sarah, and Christy. "This is Chris. He was the water boy for the football team last semester. This is his first year at Paloma. I've got to hang out with him. He's really cool," said Morgan as she hugged Chris. The other girls smiled and introduced themselves. I remember you, you're the kid that got transferred into this class a couple of weeks after school started, Sarah added. Chris laughed. The administration thought that I was a freshman and put me in ninth grade classes, informed Chris. I have been trying to introduce Chris to more people, but he doesn't seem to like big crowds, Morgan joked. You do draw a crowd often, Morgan, Chris shot back. You are so calm and collected, most guys can't keep it together when they talk to us cheerleaders, remarked Amber while looking at Chris briefly. You should join us for lunch sometime, Christy suggested. Morgan, Amber, Sarah, and Christy all agreed. I wouldn't mind that, Chris responded. Duran could not believe that Chris was easily talking to 4 girls at one time and not saying anything silly. I wonder why Morgan and the other girls are so interested in him, thought Duran. Mr. Newman returned and class went along as it normally did. The bell rang and all of the students slowly filed out of the room. Chris, wait up, man, shouted Duran. Chris stopped and turned around. So who am I waiting for? Chris replied sarcastically. Duran, let me talk to you for a second, responded Duran as he shook Chris's hand. Go for it, Chris shot back. You're new here, how do you know all of these hot girls? You seem like a loner, questioned Duran. You heard them. I was the water boy for the football team in the fall. That doesn't stop me from liking a couple of pretty faces, Chris answered. What's so special about that? You were just giving jocks water, asked Duran. Before me, they only had water girls. My cousin is on the team and I had to stay back for practice every day, so I hung out with Morgan, and the girls sort of took me in, Chris answered as he and Duran walked up to the gym. Isn't Morgan dating the QB1 Brett? You're aiming high, newbie, responded Duran as he laughed. I like her, I'll admit that, but Brett's a senior. I have at least another 2 school years with her, Chris replied. Duran smirked. We have a lot more in common than you think. We both aim high even if it seems impossible, said Duran as he opened his PE locker. Chris agreed. I see what you are saying, but this place is a popularity contest every day. I learned at my old school you have to develop a reputation in order to aim as high as we do, especially if we fancy Amber and Morgan, Chris added. The two of us have been within earshot of each other half of the school year and we didn't speak once. That's a travesty, boomed Duran. Chris opened his PE locker. So what are you suggesting? Chris inquired. We start building this reputation. I think it's time that these 2 lone wolves start a pack, Duran said as he and Chris once again shook hands firmly. Present day. So just like that? Asked Brandy. Duran nodded. Believe it or not, yes, although Chris was skeptical. We were both in the same boat trying to find ourselves in the social landscape of Paloma, Duran informed. It's even crazier that you two had classes together and never met, added Anna. Chris did a good job of keeping away from crowds back then. He was really focused on his friendship with Morgan, Duran continued. I remember Morgan. Chris was still friends with her last year. I saw her from time to time, Brandy said as she took a bite of her sandwich. I'm sorry, Anna, I keep forgetting about how you feel about Chris. It must be tough to hear us talking about Chris liking other girls, said Duran as he looked at Anna. It's okay, I am sitting next to a girl that Chris used to like, Anna said while touching Brandy's shoulder. Anna and Brandy laughed. This is good. I would like to hear more about Chris before I met him, suggested Anna. Brandy looked up to the stars. My turn, Brandy announced. 1 year and 5 months ago. Brandy Bloss is currently having lunch with her friends at the newly opened Greek Theater, towards the last buildings on campus. Brandy turned to her best friend Nora. Where is Nick and Jeremy? Asked Brandy. Jeremy said they were going to the basketball courts. They want us to meet someone today, Nora answered. Seconds later, Nick and Jeremy walked up with a third person. Hey guys, gather around, Jeremy exclaimed. Nick stepped forward. We have someone we would like you all to meet, informed Nick. This is Chris Wilson. Myself and Nick have known him since last school year. He's the newest addition to our growing group of friends, Jeremy announced. Chris stepped forward. I look forward to meeting each of you real soon. I hear that you guys have been making some noise around Paloma already. I may know a thing or two about that, Chris said as he smiled. As Brandy looked on, hugs went around the group. There was a generally good feeling going around the entire group. Brandy walked up to Chris. Would you like to take a walk with me? Asked Brandy. Chris nodded. Sure, answered Chris. Chris and Brandy started walking. You've been hanging out at the basketball courts for too long, a lot has changed around here, lectured Brandy. How did you know that? Chris questioned. Brandy smiled. Your name has been passed around here, you and your friend had quite a year previous to this one, Brandy continued. Okay, let's not play this game, Duran is gone now, so last year doesn't really matter now, replied Chris. Fair enough, so where we were, is known as the Freak Theater, that's our kick-it spot, you shouldn't have any problems there, Brandy went on. Chris chuckled. Why the Freak Theater? Asked Chris. Well, you and your buddies took care of one half of the meaning, you two really turned the tide for non-athletes, we have our own piece of the school without being bothered by Paloma's socialites, Brandy said as they continued walking. They look interesting, Chris exclaimed. Brandy turned to where Chris was looking. That's Tanya's group, we know some of them, but the freaks and geeks are apparently beneath them, they want the Freak Theater to themselves, but we're pretty firm as a group here, informed Brandy. So they won't be a problem? Chris questioned. Not now, that group is full of underclassmen, answered Brandy as the two began walking toward the library. The library area is for the most part neutral, many of the floaters hang out around here, Brandy continued. They continued walking. What I have heard about you is that, you stand with your friends no matter what and you are a unifier, we need someone like that with us, Brandy said while looking at Chris. This summer was enlightening, myself and Duran did some good, but there was some bad mixed in there too, replied Chris. The indoor theater is here as you know. The drama kids are cool with us, but watch out, there are some popular kids in that group too, so gauge who you speak with, Brandy lectured. Brandy and Chris continued into the quad area. This place needs no introduction, all of the athletes, cheerleaders, and rich kids are here when they aren't making fun of the freaks and geeks, continued Brandy. Chris looked around. I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can find your girl, Morgan, Brandy joked. Exactly how much do you know about me? Questioned Chris. Brandy giggled. I know enough. Some of the others in the group who were here last school year do too, responded Brandy as she sat on a bench in the school garden area. Chris sat next to Brandy. Let's talk about now, although you are new to the crew, many of them do respect you. Things between Jeremy and Nick haven't been 100% good, they have conflicting views, informed Brandy. I haven't noticed anything between them, replied a puzzled Chris. Brandy touched Chris's shoulder. It's coming, those two don't agree about anything regarding the group, one will have to go. Many of the others already consider you second in command, Brandy said softly. Second to who? Asked Chris. I'm sure we will find out at the homecoming dance, Brandy answered. Brandy and Chris stood up and started walking toward the S building. I was originally sent to scout you. Nick told me that you couldn't resist a pretty face, but as I've seen you over the last couple of weeks, you are pretty thorough and available. I see you as the leader this group needs, continued Brandy. You know I'm going to bring a lot of attention to you guys. I have friends, but I have enemies as well, Chris replied. Brandy laughed. You do draw a crowd, said Brandy as she pointed. A group of students were watching Chris and Brandy talk. And watch out for the rumors. We have had a lot spreading around, you never know who's watching or what they will tell someone else, lectured Brandy. The two finally came to a stop. So you know where my fifth period is, Chris said sarcastically. My work is precise too, Chris, we play by similar rules, shot Brandy. So what do you need from me? Asked Chris. Just be you, stay away from the rumors, keep your reputation clean, and be ready, you may have to step into a much bigger role, Brandy answered. As long as I'm able to continue my affairs, I can do that, replied Chris. Brandy took Chris's hand, hugged him, and kissed him on the cheek. It's time to start the new Wolfpack, Brandy said as she started walking away. Chris looked towards Brandy. See you later, added Brandy. Brandy walked away. Present day. You had a thing for Chris, didn't you? Anna teased. Brandy smiled. I did, responded Brandy. What happened at the homecoming dance? Anna questioned. Duran and Brandy looked at each other. You know, too, don't you? Said an interested Anna to Duran. Chris asked me to the homecoming dance shortly after we met. Brandy started. Brandy went to the dance with Chris, continued Duran. Anna giggled. Why is that so significant? Interrupted Anna. Nick and Jeremy didn't like that, started Duran. Not only that, my former best friend Nora asked Chris to the dance as well, Brandy continued. Get this, both Nick and Jeremy liked Brandy, continued Duran. Me and Chris left the dance together and Nick and Jeremy had a disagreement regarding me, according to Chris. Brandy went on. Nora followed them and found Chris and Brandy together, which infuriated her. Nora liked Chris secretly, Duran continued. Our group became fractured from there, although it seemed that myself and Chris were starting a relationship. This is where the tide changed, reflected Brandy. Last year's Wolfpack voted Chris as the new leader and booted Jeremy from the group, Duran went on. There were some loyal to Jeremy and chose to leave the group along with him, continued Brandy. As about 2 months went by, Chris's duties as leader of the group left him little time with Brandy and more with other girls, Duran went on. Me and Nick started dating as a result and Chris was blindsided by that, continued Brandy. This is when Chris left and his new group merged with Tanya's, lectured Duran. Believe it or not, there were 3 Wolfpacks at Paloma last year, Chris and Tanya's, myself and Nick's, and Jeremy's groups. When Chris returned to us, we were able to bring back everyone except for Nora. She despised me and Chris for that night at the dance, finished Brandy. Tanya began her rivalry with Chris. She was not happy that Chris went back to the Wolfpack and unified those groups, Duran finished. Interesting, I knew Chris liked you back, then I had no idea that 3 groups got affected by it, replied Anna. Unfortunately, Chris's time with Tanya's group gave them more notoriety and better navigation of Paloma's social circles. That's why we can't shake them off, lectured Duran. Well, we got you up to speed, time for you to fill us in on the Chris that we missed, Brandy said while smiling at Anna. I'm ready, but the 2 of you may not be, announced Anna. Anna looked up to the stars. 4 months ago. Anna is sitting in her ceramics class. Her instructor, Mr. Flores, is introducing a new student. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new student today. His name is Chris, Mr. Flores announced. Mr. Flores directed Chris to the last open seat. Chris sat next to Anna, who was drawing. Anna continued drawing. Which anime is that from? Asked Chris. Anna smiled at Chris as she put her drawing pencil down. It's my original design, you can take a closer look if you want, responded Anna. Chris looked at more of Anna's artwork. My name is Anna, by the way. It's my first year here at Paloma. Nice to meet you, Anna said softly. Nice to meet you, it's always cool to find someone who likes anime, replied Chris as he turned the page of Anna's sketchbook. What grade are you in? Anna questioned. Chris looked at Anna. This is my last school year here, I will be graduating in June, Chris answered. I'm a sophomore. Interesting, you aren't all uptight like the other seniors that I met are, remarked Anna as she started pulling out her ceramic tools. It's been a chaotic 3 school years, but now I'm just taking it all in, Chris replied. I thought I saw you before, you are in my last class, informed Anna. Criminology, right? Chris responded. Yes, answered Anna. Anna, your artwork is amazing. This stuff could be a big deal someday, said Chris as he turned another page of Anna's sketchbook. Anna slowly slid her sketchbook away from Chris's side of the table. We have 2 classes together, I can't let you see all of my art in one day. We have the entire school year, Anna said as she put her sketchbook in her backpack. Mr. Flores stood in front of the class. Take a good look at the person sitting next to you. That person will be your project partner for the rest of the school year, announced Mr. Flores. Anna and Chris looked at each other and smiled. There is something different about this guy, he's way too humble to be a senior, Anna thought to herself. It's rare to find a like-minded girl like her, but I can't get her involved in the Wolfpack's affairs, she's too innocent of a girl for that, thought Chris. I know that there is more to him than he's putting out, but I know he has good intentions and he would protect me if it comes to that, Anna thought further. Present day. But he protected Tanya, and that's why he isn't here with me right now, Anna said solemnly. Duran tried to comfort Anna. He didn't want you involved, but he liked you, and he felt that showing you his world would connect you two, started Duran. Bringing you to the lunchtime hangout that day must have been a big moment. Too bad Tanya showed up, Brandy continued. Now I know what he meant by chaotic, Anna said as she stood up. Anna looked into the fire. If it wasn't for that day, I would not have met you too. Chris and I hung out at lunch on and off, but I never got to meet any of his friends, reflected Anna. Brandy stood up as well. He was trying to protect you, he cares for you. I'm sure that started the day you two met, Brandy said reassuringly. She's right, from the moment I came back Chris was raving about you, his intent wasn't to deceive you, added Duran. I understand, he thought that I wasn't ready to stand by his side, but you will all see that I am. I feel like the fight of my life is coming, and real soon too, Anna responded. Meanwhile, Tanya has arrived in the forest zone. That's weird, it's nighttime here, I must have been out for a while, said Tanya as she shook her head. Tanya looked around. At least he didn't take my supplies, thought Tanya. Tanya set up her camp. I should have known Gabriel would do that, his behavior has changed rapidly since our elemental training, Tanya reflected. Tanya looked up at the stars. 11 months ago. Tanya is currently with her entire group during lunchtime. They are in front of the newly finished ASB room. What is this all about, Tanya? Asked Angela. Tanya stepped in front of everyone. Once he gets here, Chris has an announcement to make. He wanted everyone to be here, informed Tanya. Chris walked up, but he was not alone. He was with John Marquez, Brandy, Nick, Jeremy, Manny, and others. What the hell is going on here? Why are they all here? Tanya questioned. Chris stood beside Tanya, while the others looked on. I am grateful to all of you for this awesome school year. Some of you I've known since the days of the original Wolfpack with Duran, started Chris. That doesn't explain why all of your former friends that you vowed to get revenge on are here with us. We are the Wolfpack now, Angela interrupted. Tanya stopped Angela. You are right, but Chris is our leader. This was established when his new group joined up with us, boomed Tanya. All of the others there agreed and urged Chris to continue. My conflict with Brandy and Nick has been resolved. Not only that, we were also able to resolve Nick and Jeremy's disputes as well, continued Chris. Tanya crossed her arms. What does that have to do with us? Asked Tanya. It has to do with all of you. All three of these groups standing here are a part of the Wolfpack no matter who inducted you, Chris answered. Chris motioned for Brandy and the others to stand with Tanya's group. I intend to unify these groups to become the one and only Wolfpack here at Paloma, and we will show this at prom, announced Chris. Tanya stepped away from Chris's side. What the hell? This is not what we discussed, yelled Tanya. As Tanya glared at Chris, Angela and others from Tanya's original group moved away from the rest of the newly unified Wolfpack and stood with Tanya. By my order, I want all of you to leave so that I can speak with Chris alone, Tanya demanded. You can't do that, shot Brandy. Tanya is my right hand and we are all Wolfpack, so at this moment she still can, Chris replied. All members of the Wolfpack slowly left, leaving Chris and Tanya alone. Tanya, this is best for all of us, we can be our best now with everyone standing with us, pleaded Chris. I did not agree to this unification, I guess Brandy must be free now, Tanya replied angrily. I'm not ignoring what we have built, Tanya. The Wolfpack name is more popular than ever, that's why unification is a better option, said Chris, calmly. What about her? Tanya questioned. Chris looked at Tanya. Brandy did play a part in my decision, but this isn't about you or her right now, it's about all of them. Some of them were separated because of its leadership's selfish choices, including mine, answered Chris. That has nothing to do with me, Tanya shot. That's correct, the events that took place causing this were before your involvement, which is why I will return to the original Wolfpack. I owe that to them, declared Chris. You go ahead and unify your wolves. The other groups will still recognize us as equal to you, Tanya boomed. Chris started to talk, but Tanya cut him off. You're ditching us to run back, the ones who deceived you, played you for a fool, and disparaged your name. No matter what happens, I will always be a problem for you. Be sure to stay off of our turf, Tanya finished. Tanya walked away and was immediately surrounded by her friends. Tanya and company looked at Chris. Chris turned around and walked away. John Marquez, Brandy, Nick, Jeremy, Manny, and the others were waiting for Chris. As Tanya and her group looked on, Wolfpack signals were in the air. Chris and Brandy hugged each other and raised each other's arms in victory. From here on, Tanya dedicated her time at Paloma to ruin Chris and the Wolfpack, no matter what happens. This is the point where the Wolfpack became one again and is able to carry on into the next school year as depicted in the Genesis saga. Present day. Why do I feel the same way now that I felt that day? Tanya asked herself. Tanya started a fire. Both Chris and Gabriel have betrayed me past and present. I'm going to show them both that crossing me was the wrong move, thought Tanya. Tanya stared into the fire. This challenge is mine. I will find this looking glass before the others do, and I'm going to use it to settle the score my way, declared Tanya. Tanya let the fire burn as she settled in for the night. We now move the story to the Andiron Holy Land where Chris, Iria, and Darren are continuing to watch Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela. I knew Gabriel had an edge to him, but I never thought he would do that to Tanya, Chris said as he stood up. Never say never, boomed Darren. This training will be more educational than it will be physical or elemental, informed Iria. Although this place is called the Andiron Holy Land, you are not in the Andiron universe, started Darren. That means that anything you do here will have no effect on any of the existing universes, continued Iria. This land of worship exists as a bridge between the normal universe and the Andiron universe, Darren lectured. What is worshipped here? Chris asked. Darren and Iria walked Chris to a nearby shrine. In this shrine sat 7 mini statues of godlike beasts. Hundreds of years ago the universe beasts roamed this land. 500 years ago, I sealed them away, informed Darren. The universe beasts represent each element and at one time controlled the weather and religious happenings in both the normal and Andiron universes, Iria continued. Unfortunately, they were created in the image of humans, despite their beast-like appearances, continued Darren. Iria looked at the main statue labeled Tenken. The universe beasts developed human personalities, which as you know, are easily corrupted, Iria said while looking at Chris. Disasters like tornadoes, thunderstorms, and the like were caused by the universe beasts as if it were a drunken teenage joyride, boomed Darren. The religious wars known as the Crusades were started for the universe beasts' entertainment, Iria went on. There are so many more examples, but may the universes help us if the universe beasts ever roam this land again, they could destroy both universes easily, lectured Darren, as the three walked out of the shrine. Darren once again showed Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela in the sky above. What are they fighting about? Asked Chris. Focus and you will be able to hear them this time, Iria responded. Chris sat down and a purple aura surrounded him as he looked into the sky. Chris laughed. They're arguing about whether they should continue the challenge or not, Chris said as he continued laughing. This is not something to laugh about, boomed Darren as he stepped in front of Chris. Chris's purple aura instantly flickered away. Gabriel is becoming more dangerous by the minute. This is your doing, yelled Iria. It's about time that we explain to you the intent of the universes so that your future travels to the Andiron universe do not have any more negative effects on the normal or Andiron universes, Darren declared. The Andiron universe was created to balance catastrophic events occurring in the normal universe, started Iria. As you saw when you traveled to the Andiron universe, there exists alternate versions of the inhabitants of the normal universe. In some cases though, there are not two versions of every human, for example alternate Angela, Darren continued. Alternate Angela perished in a car accident at the age of 6, both the Andiron and normal versions of a human do not have to be present to maintain balance, seeing that your rival Angela is alive and well, informed Iria. But, if both versions exist they must not be affected by universal travel. Each alternate counterpart exists to keep the intent of the universes intact, Darren lectured. The intent of the universes requires the inhabitants to be the same but different, they must play their role in their native universe, stated Iria. Alternate Tanya was meant to cross paths with alternate Chris, but his true personality and his relationship with alternate Crystal would have kept their interactions minimal, leading her to continue her true alternate path, Darren lectured. Alternate Tanya becoming your alternate self's lover was not either of their intended universal paths. This could have made your interactions with Tanya much worse than what they are now, continued Iria. To keep you on your path, we diverted the effects of the universal rift that you caused to Gabriel, whose alternate version does exist, but has no idea that alternate Tanya exists due to him living in alternate Spain known in the Andiron universe as Espania. Darren went on. As Tanya feels that Gabriel cannot be trusted, alternate Tanya will be able to better continue her intended path, as will her normal counterpart, finished Iria. And so will you. We will make sure that you do not interact with alternate Tanya again, for both of your sake, Darren declared. By the time you return to the Andiron universe again, alternate Tanya's path will lead her away from alternate Menifee known as Paloma. There, you won't be seeing her again in this lifetime, Iria added. What can I do to fix this? Asked Chris. Nothing, the events that will unfold within the next day will take care of that, answered Iria. Get comfortable, you are about to watch the first bout of the universal struggle, Darren ordered. Back in the forest zone, a new day has begun. Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela are on an intense hunt for the looking glass. Let's keep moving, guys, the looking glass has to be around here somewhere, ordered Gabriel. Daniel and Angela stopped walking. Enough of this, Gabriel, if we call Darren and Iria now we can forfeit this silly challenge and go back home, Angela pleaded. You saw what happened to Chris, this place is real, we could die here, added Daniel. Gabriel's aura started to crackle and pop. Shut up, both of you, Gabriel yelled. Gabriel's aura grew more as Daniel and Angela could almost feel the electricity emanating from him. You two came up with that plan, you knew what could happen, Chris faced it. Why can't you? Asked Gabriel. Gabriel started walking again. Because we didn't ask for this, it's not our fight, responded Daniel as he and Angela tried to keep up. You two are cowards, Gabriel boomed. Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela continued looking around while walking. This Andiron universe is an unknown, I'm not signing up for any more challenges, declared Angela. Gabriel shot a small bolt of electricity that just missed Angela. I won't miss again, you two will come with me and find this looking glass, Gabriel yelled. At that moment a light fog covered the area. An hour later, the fog has become slightly thicker, making it harder to see. Damn it, we are back where we started, Gabriel said angrily. It's this fog, it's hard to see right now, added Daniel. Angela looked around. The fog is getting thicker by the minute, Angela exclaimed. We can't stay here, we are going to have to keep moving, ordered Gabriel. And move they did, but each hour Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela kept wandering back to the same spot where their camp from the previous night was. After 3 hours, they decided to keep moving but set up camp in a different spot to wait out the fog. Tanya rose at first light and started making progress toward the looking glass. She has advanced the furthest into the forest zone. This is because Tanya was moving long before the fog initially started spreading through the forest zone. As she was continuing on, she faintly sees what resembled a cabin. I can barely see, but I might be able to find the entrance, Tanya thought to herself. She slowly walked toward the cabin. After carefully circling it, Tanya approached the front door and made an attempt to open it. Locked, thought Tanya. A gray aura surrounded Tanya and started to grow. Lucky for me, keys are made of metal, Tanya said to herself. Tanya closed her eyes. As she focused, a key slowly formed in her hand. Nice, thought Tanya. Tanya unlocked the door of the cabin and walked inside. Tanya dissolved the key in her hand. Hello, anyone here? Tanya yelled as she formed knives in her hands. Tanya slowly walked through the first floor of the cabin. It looks like no one is here, Tanya said to herself. Tanya looked around. There is a lot of stuff here, I would be surprised if no one lives here, thought Tanya. Tanya began searching the first floor of the cabin. There were books about the creation of the universes, and the universal struggle. That's strange. This book isn't finished, thought Tanya. The Dark Hero? They can't be talking about Chris, whoever he is, he's referred to in past tense, probably dead, said Tanya as she closed the book. Tanya decided that she should search the entire cabin. She did a quick sweep of the den and kitchen. This cabin is weird, it feels like something or someone might be here. I should search upstairs, Tanya thought to herself. Tanya slowly began to creep up the stairs as quietly as she could. When she got to the top of the stairs, Tanya noticed a faint light shining from one of the rooms. The door was cracked. There could be someone in there, thought Tanya. As Tanya slowly pushed the door open in her free hand, she formed a small katana blade. The light in the room intensified, it shined almost every color imaginable. As Tanya looked around, she spotted a hand-sized mirror. No way, Tanya said excitedly. Tanya has found the looking glass. She stares at her reflection in the mirror. Looks like a normal hand mirror to me, but it fits the description, Tanya said to herself. Tanya decides to take the looking glass. As she picks it up, her consciousness is transported to a place unknown. Unknown future. Tanya is in the center of an arena. A crowd of blank faces are cheering rapidly. Whoa, what's going on? Tanya asked herself. Someone walked up to Tanya and handed her a championship belt. The crowd continued to cheer. I must have won something, but what, thought Tanya. As another blank face placed a tiara on Tanya's head, her consciousness returned to the present. Present day. Tanya shook her head. That had to be the future, like I told Gabriel to fight for the looking glass is mine, declared Tanya. As Tanya paced back and forth while tossing the looking glass up and down, she came up with an idea. Darren and Iria haven't appeared here yet, so this isn't over. I want to end this challenge legitimately, Tanya said to herself. Tanya walked downstairs to the bathroom and splashed some water on her face. I will find Anna and challenge her to a fight, and the winner will keep the looking glass and become the defenders of the Andiron universe, Tanya declared as she looked into the bathroom mirror. Tanya steps outside of the cabin. The fog is still out, but if I made it this far, I should be able to sense Anna's presence, speculated Tanya. Tanya sets off to find Anna. We shift back to Duran, Anna, and Brandy. The trio has advanced just as far into the forest zone as Tanya has. 4 hours have passed since the mysterious fog has descended upon the forest zone. The fog has now become so thick that visibility was hardly a quarter mile ahead. Somehow Anna's spiritual awareness has led her to wander into the fog away from Duran and Brandy. Unaware that Tanya has already found the looking glass. Team X now has a common interest with Tanya, finding Anna. Great, not only can we not find Anna, but we can barely see, exclaimed Duran. Well, it's about to get worse, Brandy replied. Duran stopped walking. How so? Asked Duran. Brandy chuckled. Look around you, Brandy boomed. Duran looked around. We are back in the same place that we started from, Duran said as he sat on a log. This is at least the 4th time that we have wandered back here, Brandy added. If we both keep wandering back here, why hasn't Anna? Questioned Duran. Anna was in some sort of trance. I saw her aura. This place must be amplifying Anna's spiritual awareness, Brandy responded. If that's the case, she could be anywhere, said Duran as he looked at Brandy. Brandy nodded. Iria and Darren told us about spiritual awareness. If it is what I felt before, she's not lost, replied Brandy. Brandy started to meditate. Her orange aura began to shine as it slowly turned into flames. Brandy closed her eyes. I can sense other presences here. 3 of them are not moving, but 2 others are moving, and they are both headed straight to each other, Brandy informed as she opened her eyes. Nice, complimented Duran. Brandy's aura flickered away. Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela are most likely the 3 not moving. We may not have to worry about them, Brandy speculated. We aren't going to get anywhere in this fog. Our best bet is to stay here until it clears, suggested Duran. What about Anna? Brandy inquired. My bet is Anna is one of those 2 moving. She's nowhere near us. We have been calling her name for hours, answered Duran. This is her adventure now. I agree, let's wait it out, Brandy responded. Duran and Brandy decided to remain where they were until the fog eventually cleared. Meanwhile, Anna walks up to a cabin. Her gray aura is shining. Anna raises her hand and the wind clears the fog from the cabin's vicinity. Someone has been here already, Anna said to herself. Anna walked up to the front of the cabin. The front door was open. Whoever they were, they're gone, thought Anna. Anna stepped away from the entrance to the cabin. As a strong breeze started to blow, Anna's gray aura shined. I sense another presence near here. This one has a chip on their shoulder, exclaimed Anna. Anna started walking away from the cabin. If I can maintain my aura, the wind will guide me to this person. I can sense that they have a great power with them, Anna speculated. She continued into the forest, with her aura shining bright enough to see even through the thick fog. While Anna was walking, she wondered if the presence that she felt was close to finding the looking glass. The presence feels close now, Anna said to herself. Suddenly, a small dagger flew by Anna's head. Just after that, another dagger only just missed Anna as she charged her aura. The wind blew so violently that all of the fog in the nearby area was blown away. With the fog clear in that area, standing about 15 feet away was Tanya, who was tossing the looking glass as she walked up to Anna. Just the person I wanted to see. You made it pretty easy for me to find you, keeping your aura going, Tanya said as she now stood directly in front of Anna. Why would you want to see me? Asked Anna. Because of what I have here in my hand, Tanya answered. Is that? Asked Anna. It sure is, the one and only looking glass. Darren and Iria haven't come here yet, which means, Tanya started. Anna cut Tanya off. What are you getting at? Questioned Anna. I don't just want to walk away from this. Your team will have a chance to win this challenge, continued Tanya. You found it, that means you won, Anna responded. I haven't won anything yet, not until I beat you, yelled Tanya. This again, Anna replied sarcastically. That's right, me versus you. The winner keeps the looking glass and will be the winner of this challenge, declared Tanya as she sat the looking glass against a tree. I accept, but let's use our elemental abilities as well. This will be more than a fight, Tanya, Anna boomed. Fine, I'm going to carve you up, Tanya shot back. Both Tanya and Anna engaged in a heated stare down. I don't know what you were trying to prove, but I won't hold back this time, said Anna seriously. This started when you stuck your nose in my business. My history with Chris was long before you came into the picture, Tanya responded as she got into her fighting stance. Little do you know, I know about your past with him. You once stood by his side as well but gave it up, shot Anna as she got into her fighting stance as well. He left us, he left me, Tanya yelled. Anna laughed while charging her aura. You embarrassed him in front of everyone. He didn't mean any harm to you. He may never get you back for that, but I'm about to right now, yelled Anna. Tanya threw a punch at Anna. Anna's aura shined and Tanya flew back a few feet away. As the wind was blowing through Anna's hair, she started floating towards Tanya. Tanya smiled. Tanya's aura shined as she formed a metal bow and arrow. Tanya shot 3 consecutive arrows. Anna, who was still floating towards Tanya, dodged the first 2 arrows through her hand up, and blew the third one into the sky. Tanya dissolved the metal bow and arrows. Tanya formed a large sword and cut down a nearby tree that crashed to the ground just as Anna was closer to Tanya. The dust in the air settled. A whizzing sound was in the air. What the? Started Tanya. The metal arrow that Anna had blown into the air landed at Tanya's feet. Anna waved her hand and the tree in front of her slowly moved to the side. Anna floated to Tanya. You sure that you want to do this? Anna asked as she landed in front of a shocked Tanya. Tanya punched Anna in the face and knocked her to the ground. There's your answer, responded Tanya. Anna stood up as she wiped the blood from her nose. Anna frowned. You think that you can beat me with some silly wind tricks? Tanya yelled. Tanya got back into her fighting stance. She charged her aura and formed brass knuckles in her hands. Tanya threw a series of punches. Anna dodged them and threw a series of her own punches at Tanya. In a show of reflexes, Tanya evaded Anna's attacks. On the last punch, Anna combined it with the wind, again blowing Tanya a few feet away. Tanya smirked. You can keep blowing me away, but, started Tanya. Before Tanya could finish, a cut formed on the side of her face, drawing a small amount of blood. Not bad, you can use your elemental skills with your physical ones. I'm impressed, Tanya said as she licked her blood off of her finger. I can do a lot more than that. If you want to fight, let's do it. Show me your physical technique, boomed Anna as she got back into her fighting stance. Tanya started running towards Anna as she dissolved the brass knuckles. Tanya performed a 1-2 punch and kick combo, overwhelming Anna. Anna quickly countered with a back kick to Tanya's midsection. Tanya staggered a step back. Anna jumped into the air, as her aura shined, the wind carried her into a spin kick which connected with Tanya's face, sending her crashing to the ground. Tanya quickly counters with a backward trip from the ground, knocking Anna off of her feet. Anna and Tanya slowly got back to their feet. I misjudged you. When we started this thing, I thought you would just give up like your friends have. You are becoming a great fighter, Anna complimented. Tanya nodded. I felt the same about you. When I challenged you, I did so thinking it would be a cakewalk, but you are proving yourself as a dangerous opponent, agreed Tanya. Both fighters charged their auras. Tanya quickly performed a straight punch to Anna's chest, sending her a few steps back. Tanya tried to follow up, but Anna performed a push kick, creating space between the two. Tanya's aura shined. As Tanya formed brass knuckles in her hand, she initiated a front lunge punch to Anna's midsection. Anna stepped back, holding her stomach. Anna coughed up blood and fell to the ground. Tanya blew a kiss at the fallen Anna. Tanya starts to walk towards the looking glass. Wait, I'm not done yet, yelled Anna. Tanya turned around. Slowly, Anna got up to her feet. Anna's aura shined its brightest as the wind steadily whipped around. All of the training has brought us to this moment, Chaotic Universe's first superior technique. A fighter's superior technique is one of three things: a physical, elemental, or a combination of the two in an all-out attack. These techniques are performed to win the fight or turn the tide of a battle. Anna gathers energy with her aura. She gathers all of the wind in the area, making it stop. Once enough energy is gathered, Anna releases an all-out wind blast that fires in all directions. This is Anna's superior technique, blowout. Anna releases all of her wind energy in the blast. The force sends Tanya crashing into a large tree that did not fall from the wind blast. Tanya is laying on the ground. I could get up, but she might get more serious. I can't risk further injury, thought Tanya. Anna began floating towards Tanya. My friends don't deserve to defend the universes. I killed two birds with one stone. I got to see what Anna is capable of, and I get to stick it to Gabriel. I can play dead for a couple of minutes, Tanya said to herself. Anna landed in front of Tanya. Tanya laid there motionless. There it is, said Anna excitedly. Anna picks up the looking glass. Anna's consciousness travels to a place unknown. In an unknown future. Anna is in what appears to be a church. Anna looks around. Why can't I see anyone's face? Anna asked herself. A minister announced the arrival of the bride and started to introduce the groom. The groom started walking down the aisle. I have a dress on, I must be the bride, but who am I marrying, thought Anna. As the groom stepped in front of Anna, her consciousness flashed back to the present. Present day. Anna, called Brandy. Anna, are you okay? Are you hurt? Duran questioned. Anna dropped the looking glass. Where did you guys come from? Asked Anna. We lost you in the fog hours ago, Duran answered. Brandy nodded. After deciding to hang back, the fog suddenly cleared after a powerful wind gust swept through, added Brandy. You didn't have anything to do with that, did you? Duran asked sarcastically. Duran, Anna, and Brandy laughed. Tanya sat up against the tree. Brandy reached to pick up the dropped looking glass. Don't touch that, yelled Tanya. Brandy stood back up. Why not? It's just a hand mirror, Brandy replied. Sorry, Brandy, but it's not just a hand mirror, informed Anna. Tanya stood up. That is the looking glass. If you touch it, you are going to see something that you won't understand, Tanya added. Anna, you found the looking glass, that means we won, exclaimed Duran. Anna shook her head. We did win, but I didn't find it first, Tanya did, responded Anna. Looks of shock came upon Brandy and Duran's faces. That's why you both look all beat up. You two fought, Brandy said while hugging Anna. A small bolt of electricity flew by Anna, Brandy, and Duran. Finally caught up to you guys, shot Gabriel. Daniel ran over to Tanya. Tanya, you're hurt, Daniel said solemnly. Are you okay, Tanya? What did they do to you? Asked Angela. I'm fine, replied Tanya. So what exactly happened here between you two? Brandy questioned. I found the looking glass, started Tanya. Gabriel cut Tanya off. You mean we won? Gabriel interrupted. No, responded Tanya. Gabriel, Angela, and Daniel looked puzzled. Tanya challenged me to a fight for the looking glass after I sensed her presence nearby, Anna informed. I don't like where this is going, shot Angela. So who won the fight? Gabriel questioned. Duran, Brandy, Angela, Daniel, and Gabriel eagerly anticipated Tanya and Anna's answer. She beat me fair and square. Team X are the rightful winners of this challenge, answered Tanya. Well, the important thing is that you're okay, Daniel said as he hugged Tanya. Darren and Iria appeared. So that seals the deal. Anna, Duran, and Brandy are the new defenders of the Andiron Universe, announced Iria. Team X is not complete without, started Darren. A bright purple flame surrounded the area. Chris appeared with his purple aura shining. Chris, said Anna, Duran, and Brandy excitedly. You guys won, you worked as a team and got it done, Chris said as he smiled. Anna hugged Chris and didn't let go. I saw what you did, that was amazing, you showcased your skills here today, complimented Chris. That same good feeling that the wolf pack had when Chris met Brandy was flowing through Team X at that moment. Chris, Anna, Brandy, and Duran hugged each other and congratulations went around. Tanya stood there unmoved. Gabriel, Daniel, and Angela were still shocked and speechless after hearing the results of Anna and Tanya's historic fight. Why, Tanya? Asked Angela. Tanya still stood silent. You had it won, you could have fought Anna anytime, Gabriel added. Daniel stopped Gabriel and Angela before they could continue. She's been through enough, boomed Daniel. If you don't mind, Darren and Iria, I would like to go home now, Tanya said as she leaned into Daniel. Tanya looked at Gabriel. I will explain everything when we get back, assured Tanya. Tanya, Angela, Gabriel, and Daniel slowly disappeared. Darren and Iria focused on Chris, Anna, Brandy, and Duran. Now that the four of you are the new defenders of the Andiron Universe, you will be required to report to myself and Darren if there is need for the universes to be protected, Iria informed. When you return to the normal universe, you will be unable to use your elemental abilities, they are only usable in the Drasil and Andiron universes, continued Darren. Be aware that you can die in the Andiron and Drasil universes the same as the normal. The battles ahead could mean death for any of the fighters involved. We cannot protect you all from that, Iria warned. What about Tanya and her friends? Asked Brandy. While they are not the main defenders, they are bound to the same call to defend the universes that the four of you are, Darren replied. The next test will most likely require all of you to fight, added Iria. You are free to travel here to the Drasil universe by using astral projection to continue your elemental training, Darren informed. All of you must develop superior techniques like Anna has. It may turn the tide of a fight, or win one for you, continued Iria. Welcome to the universal struggle. Your next test will be in the Andiron universe against the elemental masters. Prepare yourselves, we will come calling for you when the time comes, Darren declared. Chris, Anna, Brandy, and Duran disappeared. The Drasil Universe Saga has concluded with the battle between Anna and Tanya decided by Anna debuting her first superior technique, Blowout. An enormously powerful wind blast that cleared the mysterious fog that blanketed the forest zone. With Anna standing victorious and flashing forward to an unknown future as Tanya did when she first touched the looking glass. One question looms and the answer is unknown to everyone involved now excluding Tanya. Why did Tanya intentionally lose to Anna if she could have continued fighting? How will her reasons affect Tanya and company going forward? With Chris returning from the Andiron Holy Land with new abilities and Gabriel quickly channeling his, when will these two finally meet in battle with the elements in play? Who are the elemental masters and what do they have planned? Superior techniques will play an important part in future battles and will be a must-have in these fights. Chris, Duran, Brandy, Gabriel, Angela, Daniel, and Tanya have yet to reveal one. With the freedom to train in the Drasil universe. What new superior techniques will we see? And when will Team X encounter the Elemental Masters in battle? All of these questions and more will be answered in the Elemental Masters Saga of Chaotic Universe. End of Chapter 8. End of the Drasil Universe Saga.